Hello, I'm Captain Jim, and today on the Dreadnerd.
The Dreadnerd, are they our Scandinavian counterparts? Idiot.
I'd like to talk to you about the crime fantasy novel series of Among Thieves. This book is by Douglas Hulick, and it's actually a series of books known as A Tale of the Kin. And so far there's 2 books, and the second one being Sworn in Steel. And I'm led to believe by the kind people at the internet that there is a third one being written at this very second. Yeah, it's probably not very likely that they're working on it exactly right now, at this exact moment, but you know what, it's close enough, isn't it? So deal with it. Yeah, thanks for that. So just a couple of little housekeeping things before we start. Number 1, if you hear the fire alarm bell, then please do proceed to the nearest exit, not stopping to pick up valuables such as coats, bags or children. If you hear the zombie apocalypse warning, then please go to the nearest exit and secure that exit, stopping only to pick up obviously weapons and bottles of water and such. If you hear the fire zombies warning, then there's not much point in going to the exit because we're probably all screwed, so I won't worry about it too much. The second point is, shortly I've got to go and catch a flight to Germany, and I haven't had a lot of time this weekend for this video, so most of this video will be done by Future Jim in Germany.
Yeah, greetings from Germany. I'm going to try and pick up where the idiot past Jim didn't.
Thanks for doing that for us, Jim. Saved my bacon there quite a bit. And the third and final point is I've actually only read the first book, the Among Thieves book, and have yet to get on to the Sworn in Steel. Okay, so now that we've covered the housekeeping issues, we can move on with the discussion and the video today. So, this book series follows a character called Dreadnerd, and he is part of a kind of criminal organisation called the Kin, which is a bit like sort of mafia, organised crime type group, and he is a nosy in that group that works for an organisation headed by a man known as Nico. Now, a nose is like an information gatherer, somewhat akin to Varys of Game of Thrones fame, but in addition to just gathering information for his criminal organisation, he also acquires relics and artefacts for those that are trying to hunt them down, and obviously to pay on the black market. Early on and during the beginning of the book, he gets caught up in a sort of conspiracy or series of events that end up with him having in his possession quite a very powerful and ancient relic in the form of a book that there are multiple groups of different people out to get, so he kind of has to survive from the people that are trying to get the book back and obviously remove him in the process. This is where I'm going to stop and pass on to Future Jim because I've got to go and organise my stuff and jump on a plane. So over to you, Future Jim.
Greetings there, Dreadnerders, or Dreadnerdies, or Dreadnerdites, Dreadnights. So the world that this book is set in is quite an interesting one. The nation that the Kin is involved in or active in is a kind of imperium led by an immortal emperor, and it's kind of an interesting one how he's immortal. So the religion that is followed in this nation is that there's a group of angels, just called the angels, gods I guess, or something similar, that is worshipped by the people, and the idea being that they came down at some point and found this guy and decided to make him immortal and make him the emperor. But he's not immortal in a conventional sense, like the immortal emperor of Warhammer or other immortal emperors are available, of course, as well. What they did is they kind of split his soul into 3 parts, and when one of the people that has one of these parts of the soul, it dies, it's then reincarnated into another body. So there's kind of 3 people that are all fractions of this immortal emperor, and then one of them dies, and one of the other 3 soul fragments becomes the emperor, and they've all got different personality traits and things. And as they've gone on and over time, the centuries this has been happening, they've become increasingly paranoid and distrustful of each other, and had wars against it to try and even stop the other emperors from assassinating each other and taking over from each other, and undoing all of their work that they've done each time that the next one moves on, or to protect their particular part of the soul or the fraction of the emperor. So it's quite an interesting world, quite an advanced sort of Renaissance level, early Renaissance, high medieval level of technology, with a lot of magic. The majority of the magic, the most powerful magic, is known as imperial magic, and is controlled by people of the empire, and it's quite forbidden to have powerful relics or magics or knowledge of magics beyond a very minimum level. Hunted down by a sort of special group of sort of witch hunting type people. White sashes, I believe they're called from memory. There are lower level magics that people have, and you can hire these kind of wizards, magicians, whatever you want to call them, to do certain things. But up to very basic points, they become illegal, so they have to become more hidden, of course. I found out there are other nations in the world as well, which don't get on particularly well with the Imperium, and you meet some characters from one of those nations that's quite a close rival of the Imperium. So Drow, the main character, as we said, is a nose for a certain organisation, and he is an information dealer, and also runs a black market operation in selling forbidden relics and artifacts from the past. Some of the other characters that are worth mentioning is first of all a guy called Bronze Deacon, who's a friend, an ally of Droth, and they're kind of old friends from when they were young and brought up on the streets. The Bronze Deacon is part of an organisation of an ancient mercenary organisation called the Deacons, and as one dies, another person takes on the mantle of the Bronze Deacon. So he's one, and each of these deacons has specialist skill sets and specialist areas, typically in fighting. Bronze Deacon is an expert sword fighter. There are other sword fighters and archers and all these other kinds of things as well. But he's obviously sworn to work in this organisation and follows their rules and their code, predominantly as mercenaries, but he does help out Droth from time to time because they're old friends. You also follow character Nico, which is Droth's boss, essentially the head of the organisation he works for. Quite a hard, obviously, sort of gangster type guy, known to be quite ruthless, quite hot-headed and short-tempered, and Droth is meant to be the one who supplies him with information against what the other crews, the gangs and stuff are up to. Another character that you meet is his sister. Now they sort of grew up relatively poor lives to start with, and you find out they're brought up by their uncle, actually from a certain age up in the woods, and he taught them all various skills. So Droth gets his sort of fighting skills and his knowledge and stuff, and she was taught to be use her feminine skills to gain things instead. So she's managed to marry her way in and up the court, and is a high lady, and has sort of tricked away into becoming quite noble and high-born, and so her association with Droth has to be kept secret, but she hires him to do certain jobs and remove people and incidents and information, or acquire relics for him, but it's all in secret, and they're quite close, and she becomes fairly integral to the plot as well. Don't want to go into too much information, as always. It is quite a conspiracy, and quite an unfolding conspiracy that Droth gets himself set in. It's very good with twists and turns, and very difficult to predict where it's going to go, because you're getting the information from the first person storyline from Droth. So as he develops things and learns things, so you're at the same time as it's coming along, and there's loads of different groups and people in the shadows and stuff. So it's quite an intriguing one, and it makes it a really good page turner. It's well written, and and likeable characters. Obviously, those that are meant to be liked. I quite like Droth, and I quite like Bronze Deacon, and pretty much everyone else you don't, or I didn't at least. Anyway, so it's a good book. It's an interesting world. It's a conspiracy. As a crime fantasy, it's quite unique. I've never really seen one from a book that tells a story in that kind of way, and also certainly from that point of view of seeing these advanced fantasy worlds from the bottom up, rather than you always seeing highborn people or the armies or all the wizards or how they see this kind of stuff. You don't very often see it from the point of view of the common person at the bottom or the criminal elements at the bottom. I think that's about all I've got to say. I may put a little amendment here on the screen saying how good or why I would rate the second one once I finished reading it, but I reckon at least 4 out of 5 stars certainly. Very good, worth checking out. That's about it. I think back to the studio for present, Jim. You owe us a beer, although I think I may have already had it. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how this kind of weird time travel thing works, but
oh, so thanks for that, Jim. We really appreciate it. Really saved my bacon. That one there. So as we have said, it's actually a really good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. A proper page turner. I couldn't really put it down at all. I am very much looking forward to reading the second one, which I'm probably be starting on the aforementioned plane. It's a sort of beautifully realised world that we've discussed with loads of interesting and clever ideas that are not heard of before. Some well written characters and a developing story that you never know where it's going. So you're always sort of drip fed this information as the character Droth gets them, and it leads you to follow along into this conspiracy and this series of events. So basically, yeah, go and check it out. Go and pick it up. Find it from your appropriate place. I have got it as an audiobook as well, and I've listened to the beginning of the first one as an audiobook as well to test it out, because it's written from the point of view of Droth. It does work pretty well as an audiobook, because it's somebody there obviously telling the story themselves. So for those that are short on time perhaps, or aren't into their reading, then perhaps get the audiobook and listen that way. Yeah, go and check it out. Let us know what you think. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. You can, of course, as always, leave comments below. That's about it. Captain Jim out.
Future Jim out too.
It's finished now. You can go. It's over. Fin.